Hello everyone, today is Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. I am here in Fredericksburg, Pennsylvania, right now on US Route 22, the William Penn Highway. I'm gonna go take this route to go back to I-78 to go to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania's state capital. Yeah, we're gonna go do this thing once again. So the plan for today is that we're going to be driving there, and then we're going to go visit their state capitol, get a good tour of it, and go in some outdoor parks, visit the Walnut Street bridges and other bridges in the area. And then hopefully we have time to top it off by going 14 miles east to Hershey, Pennsylvania, to visit Hershey's Chocolate World and go to the Hershey's Chocolate Tour. All right, we're going to be approaching Pennsylvania Route 743. We're going to turn right now, right here in this light on Legionaire Drive. There's a lot of cornfield over here. So Route 22 extends all the way from Newark, New Jersey to Cincinnati. Actually been to both of those endpoints before. Newark, obviously, since it's close to New York. Cincinnati went in 2023. Nice place. All right, we're going to be taking I-78 west. We are almost about 6 miles east of its western terminus, in Union Township, near, I think it's called Jonestown, Pennsylvania. Here's our control city, Harrisburg. We're going to turn left at the dash line. Right here is the entrance. Let's wait for the car. So we're going west. We have 6 miles of this interstate highway to go. Interstate 78 is 146-mile interstate, primary interstate, meaning 2 digits, east-west, traveling through in the East End, Lower Manhattan, New York City, specifically Tribeca, Triangle below Canal Street, at the Holland Tunnel near Canal Street, all the way to its western point where we're going to, Interstate 81, Union Township, which is northeast of Harrisburg, the closest city. This interstate traverses through 3 states, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. New York a little bit for half a mile through the Holland Tunnel. Major cities I-78 passes through include Allentown, Pennsylvania, Newark, New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey, and ending in New York City. I-78 links ports in New York City and North Jersey, points west, including Lehigh Valley, the 3rd largest metropolitan region of Pennsylvania. That's Allentown. I-78 accommodates over 4 million trucks annually. I mean, look at all the trucks here. It's incredible. Representing 24% of all truck traffic in the nation. Wow. It's also a major connection point to the New York metropolitan area's 3 major international airports: Newark Liberty International Airport, John F. Kennedy International Airport, as well as LaGuardia Airport. LaGuardia Airport doesn't really have that many international flights. It's more domestic. Here are some fun facts. I-78 is actually one of my favorite interstates. This road is relatively flat, has really good mileage. I've driven it all the way up to the starting point here of this video. Except Allentown. Allentown is a little bit hilly, but hey, it reminds me of like going through like a steep roller coaster drop. The road is very straight. I love that it has, in the eastbound direction, New York City as a control city. The Newark metro area has express and local lanes. One of the few interstates to also have traffic lights in the US. That is a major exception in Jersey City when going on 12th and 14th Streets. And the Holland Tunnel is a beautiful exit to enter into the city proper with a rotary of 5 quick exits. Exit 1 includes West Street, New York State Route 9A. Exit 2 for Uptown Hudson Street, which leads to 8th Avenue. 3 is for Brooklyn, heading towards the Brooklyn Bridge. Exit 4, which is new, opened in 2004, relatively new to when it opened, for downtown, exiting onto Varick Street. And the final exit, exit 5, is for Canal Street East, heading towards the Manhattan Bridge, Chinatown, or points north. I honestly love I-78, one of my favorite interstates, because none of the auxiliary interstates in New York City connects to its parent route due to the canceled expressway plans in New York City, including the Lower Manhattan Expressway, Lomex, traveling through the Williamsburg Bridge, the Bushwick Expressway, Nassau Expressway, traveling north to the Clearview Expressway, the Throgs Neck Bridge, currently I-295, the Cross Bronx Expressway, and the Throgs Neck Expressway as the split. It would have if I-78 became an interstate in New York City properly, it would have traveled through 4 of the 5 boroughs except Staten Island. And here you see exit 1, A and B for Harrisburg, or the northbound control city, Hazleton. Hazleton is where intersect with I-80. So I-78 is a major cross-county route, very crucial for New York City and truck traffic, because when it connects to I-81, it parallels I-95, and there's not a lot of tolls over there, as well as very quiet cities, so barely any traffic. Nice, smooth sailing. So the default lanes to I-78 is going to go into South Harrisburg, which is going to be heading a little due west, even though our direction is considered south. We got half a mile left. That's the northbound flying junction of I-81. I-81 is 855 miles long, connecting from New York, the Canadian border, at the Thousand Islands Bridges in Wellesley Island, New York, to Dandridge, Tennessee, which is northeast of Knoxville. This interstate traverses through 6 states: Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and New York. Major cities include Kingsport, Tennessee, Bristol, Tennessee and Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia, Winchester, Virginia, Martinsburg, West Virginia. What's Martinsburg? It is apparently the 6th largest city in the state of West Virginia. We have Hagerstown, Maryland, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where we're going to, Wilkes-Barre, PA, Scranton. I actually had a video traveling to Scranton, and we went to Steamtown. That video is going to come out soon, I promise you guys. And it goes up to Binghamton, New York, major university, and Syracuse. I-81, as I said, is a free, parallel, less congested alternative to Interstate Highway I-95. And that's why there's a lot of truck traffic, especially in Virginia. In Pennsylvania, it's called the American Legion Highway. Let's talk about some notable locations and attractions. As we approach exit 85, the exit for the northbound exit is for Fort Indiantown Gap, also known as the Gap. It is a census-designated place and National Guard training center, primarily located in Lebanon County. The installation is an active National Guard training center and serves as a headquarters for the Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veterans Affairs and the Pennsylvania National Guard. Perfectly very close, especially when you have your capital nearby. And other active duty reserve competent military units, as well as law enforcement agencies. The reservation is protected by the Fort Indiantown Gap Police Department, a full-time department which also enforces traffic and other state laws. The force is an agency of the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. The history of Fort Indiantown Gap dates back to 1755, when the colonial government established several forts as defenses for white settlers against the Susquehannock. Tensions had risen as the colonists encroached on the communal lands of the Susquehannock, who had long hunted and cultivated there. The Native Americans became willing allies against the British colonists as the French and Indian War began. At the onset of the war, the Susquehannock attacked colonial frontier settlements, using the passes that existed in the Blue Mountain through the Menanda Gap, Indiantown Gap, and Swatara Gap. Because of these attacks, fortifications were established near the Swatara Gap in northern Lebanon County, just east of present-day Fort Indiantown Gap, near the Miranda Gap in Dauphin County. The name Indiantown Gap was fashioned from the Native American presence and geography. Indiantown is derived from the many Native American villages that existed in the vicinity of the installation, and Gap refers to the separation in the Blue Mountains through which the creek known as Indiantown Run flows. The current post was originally developed by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania on the recommendation of General Edwin Martin as a National Guard training site in 1931 after the Pennsylvania National Guard outgrew its 120-acre training site in Mount Gretna, Pennsylvania. Over the years, the installation has served as a home to the Pennsylvania National Guard as well as active units of the United States Army. In 1941, the post was officially renamed Indiantown Gap Military Reservation, IGMR. Martin retired from military service and later served as governor of Pennsylvania and then as U.S. Senator for Pennsylvania. After his death, Pennsylvania General Assembly renamed the installation of Edward Martin Military Reservation, a designation that Martin himself rejected throughout his life. The new name was never fully accepted by the military personnel who served there. In 1975, the Secretary of the Army renamed the post Fort Indiantown Gap in order to move closely align it with other active duty stations throughout the United States. Pennsylvania has also reinstated Indiantown Gap designation, which it retains today. Today, Fort Indiantown Gap is one of the busiest National Guard training centers in the country, with more than 100,000 personnel training there annually. Wow. Including reserve component and active duty service members and law enforcement officers. In fiscal year 2021, Fort Indiantown Gap was the busiest National Guard training center for the second year in a row and the fifth time in the last 7 years. During fiscal year 2021, the installation hosted 113,075 personnel for a total of 727,878 man days of training. Man days are a computation of the number of personnel multiplied by the number of days they trained on the post. FTIG was also the busiest training center in 2015, 2016, 2018, and 2020. And now we're going to be approaching Exit 80. Exit 80 is for Pennsylvania Route 743. And if you've seen some of the control cities, it says to Hershey. Hershey, of course, is the chocolate company named after Milton S. Hershey. And where there's Hershey, there's Hersheypark, Pennsylvania's largest amusement park. The park was founded in 1906 by Milton S. Hershey as a leisure park for the employees of the Hershey Chocolate Company. It is wholly and privately owned by Hershey Entertainment Resorts and Company. Hersheypark has won several awards, including the Applause Award. The park opened its first roller coaster in 1923, the Wildcat, an early Philadelphia Toboggan Company coaster. In 1970, it began a redevelopment plan, which led to new rides, an expansion, and its renaming. The 1970s brought the Super Duper Looper, an early complete circuit looping roller coaster, as well as a 330-foot tall, 100-meter observation tower called the Kissing Tower. I visited there my first time in June 2010 and last year, August 2024. Specifically last year, I was there to celebrate passing both of my pharmacy exams, both the NAPLEX, the board, as well as the law exam for New York. What a wonderful way to celebrate. And it was actually this was my most recent amusement park. Prior to that, I went to Dorney Park, which is located in Allentown near I-78. That was in 2016, so it's been about an 8-year gap since I've been into an amusement park, and I love going on those roller coasters. Speaking of roller coasters, let's talk about the roller coasters that are present today. First of all, we have the Comet, which was built in 1946. It is a wooden roller coaster and very reminiscent of the Coney Island Cyclone roller coaster. Next, we got the Trailblazer, opened in 1974, which is a mine train ride. We have the Super Duper Looper, which is a steel ride, opened in 1977. Next, we got the Jolly Rancher Remix, which was originally called the Sidewinder. The Sidewinder opened in 1991, but then it was renamed to the Candies in 2022. It is a boomerang roller coaster. We got the Great Bear in 1998, which is an inverted roller coaster. Wild Mouse, 1999, is a Wild Mouse roller coaster. 2000, we have the Lightning Racer, which is a dual-track wooden roller coaster, having a race between Lightning or Team Thunder. Exit 77 over here for PA Route 39 is also a way to go into Hersheypark as well. Going back to the roller coasters, we have in 2004 the Storm Runner, which is a launch roller coaster. 2008 has the Fahrenheit, a vertical lift roller coaster. Sky Rush 2012 is a steel hyper coaster. They recently rebuilt it, and I gotta say the ride feels very smooth. I know a lot of people complained about the restraints, but after experiencing myself, I feel that it is a fun experience. Should go if you like going through high thrill drops. We got a family gravity coaster in 2014 called the Coco Coaster. Laugh Track in 2015 is a spinning indoor roller coaster. Unfortunately, I haven't gone to experience that because it's the line was actually pretty long. Maybe next time if I go there someday, I'll go get to experience it. But I think it's pretty cool. Oh, and this is one of my favorite ones coming up. Candymonium 2020, a steel hypercoaster. I love this roller coaster because it reminds me of one of the first biggest drop roller coasters that I've been to, which was called Apollo's Chariot in Williamsburg, Virginia, which opened in 1999. I went there in 2009 to celebrate its 10th anniversary, and I think I've been in there 6 times. It's incredible. But going back to Candymonium, I only went there once, and it is the tallest, fastest, longest roller coaster in Hersheypark. The ride is 4,636 feet long, with an initial drop of 210 feet. The track is colored chocolate brown with light gray supports, contains several camelback hills, and the track covers about 7 acres of land. The train reaches a maximum speed of 76 miles per hour. I don't think the Apollo's Chariot could do that. The 3 trains represent 3 Hershey candies: Reese's, Kisses, and Twizzlers. I think I went on the Kisses one. It's pretty nice. Each car seats 4 riders in a single row, with a total of 28 riders per train. And yeah, I think this is why it's one of the most popular rides. There was a major line. That was the first ride I've been there when it was opened, and the line, I think it was like 30 to 40 minutes long. It was super long. Yeah, I love that. I think that's my favorite roller coaster in the park right now. And then the final roller coaster we have is called Wildcat's Revenge, opened in 2023, which is a hybrid coaster made of steel and wood. I think it replaced a roller coaster called the Wildcat, and I gotta say, it is a fast thrill ride. It is a little wild, so you could possibly be dizzy. So I want you to be precaution if you plan to go on that ride. Be careful, and lock up your stuff in the lockers. I've also been in 2 water rides the last time I've been there. First, we got the Coal Cracker, which opened in 1973, which is a log flume ride. And then we got Tidal Force, 1994, which is a splashdown 100-foot drop ride. A ride that we're planning to go to, that I plan to record later, is called Hershey's Chocolate Tour, which opened in 1973. It's basically a replacement of people who wanted to tour Hershey's Chocolate Factory, which is nearby in the area. But I think there were too many crowds, and they thought about doing a ride instead. It kind of reminds me of a blend of a slow ride getting a tour with Test Track, because Test Track kind of explains about the racing process. But, you know, I think, like, you know, I gotta see, because I haven't been there in 15 years to see what's in there. I know that if you want to go there, it is a free part of the park. no need to pay if you want to visit there. It's open all year round as opposed to the park, which opens seasonally. And you get 3 hours of free parking. If you pass 3 hours, you have to pay a parking fee of $60. So make sure you're there for 3 hours and keep track of time. They stamp you for it. So gonna get a 4K video footage for you guys coming up in the channel. All right, we're gonna be approaching Harrisburg very soon. Our exit that we're gonna be taking is Interstate 83, which is an exit 70. So let's talk about Interstate 83 because we're not gonna be in there much longer. So Interstate 83, we're gonna be at its northern terminus at I-81, is an 85-mile primary north-south interstate highway traveling through Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to Baltimore, Maryland. The first part that we're going to enter in is called the Harrisburg Capital Beltway. Uh-oh, there's an ambulance behind us, but we're moving pretty fast. So let's try to pull over. Let this guy through. Yep, this guy's moving through. Whoa, that's a paramedic. All right, it's gonna be a left exit. Okay, so the Harrisburg Capital Beltway includes I-81, I-83, as well as Pennsylvania Route 581. The Interstate 83 traverses through 2 states, Pennsylvania and Maryland, and the major city it passes through includes York, Pennsylvania, as well as the 2 major cities in the end. I've traveled on I-83 before in Baltimore when I visited there last year. It's pretty nice. Travel a little, I think the southern mile of it, called the JFX. I think it's called the Jones Fall Expressway. All right. Let's see the signs right here for the control cities. I don't know why it's called North Harrisburg and South Harrisburg, but apparently we're going to South Harrisburg. And then the other control city we see is Carlisle, suburb of Harrisburg. I think it should have been Hagerstown from the jump. And then York for I-83. We traveled through York before on the way back from, I forgot where we went. I think it was the K's we went on US 30. No, Gettysburg. Went on US 30 when we got back. All right, we have to get onto the left lane. So let's see if there's a gap. We got 1 mile left. In Pennsylvania, I-83 is called the Veterans Foreign Wars of the United States Memorial Highway. So let's get into I-83, and then we're going to be entering into Harrisburg proper. They redid this interchange. I think this was new. I think it opened, they finished it either in 2021 or 2022. I remember it was under construction. Let's stay in the right lane of the split, going east 322 as well. Fun fact, if you were traveling northbound I-81 west, eastbound due east, you get the control city of York, Pennsylvania, and Hershey. 322 dumps you into Hersheypark. So it is the fastest way to get into Hershey. Into the skies we go. If I'm traveling to Baltimore, this is not the route I would go because it's more like an L shape. I-95 is the better route. And you get to go pass through Philadelphia and Trenton. If you want to visit Trenton, I take the free route US 1 to go there. That's pretty fast. We're going to exit here, Jonestown Road, half a mile, exit 50 for Route 22. We're going back. Watch out for the merge. Put on the right signal. Got a quarter of a mile. 1 more lane change. There we go. See, this is brand new. They made the road a lot wider now. Now it's 3 lanes and an exit lane. We'll be heading westbound. Exit 35 miles an hour. right here. Whoa, whoa, they don't even have the number exit sign. Whoa, you gotta be careful. Jonestown Road West. Let's go right. Okay, we got a slip lane to go yield. We've actually been to Harrisburg before. This is not my first time. I think we went in, which year was it? Was it 2015 or 2016? I think it's possibly about 10 years ago we were here. Now we're back. We were here because we went to the National Civil War Museum, a part of the Smithsonian. I love seeing those weapons, and I remember that's like my first time seeing bayonets, and every time I see it, like, I get so excited. Like whenever I see something that looks like a bayonet, it's like you shoot the guy, and then you charge with the little blade thing. It's cool. It's kind of like a spear. All right, you can take the left lane. All right, I don't think this is Harrisburg. I'll put in the description what this is called. But we're in one of the suburbs. But this is called Walnut Street. And Walnut Street leads to the Walnut Street Bridge. I think they're actually connected. We're gonna be visiting that, and I'm gonna make a video on that as well. Feels very American here. I gotta say, the capital areas in Pennsylvania look a lot better than Trenton. I got a lot of interesting words to say about Trenton, but I think that's the harshest I'll go to right now. It doesn't look that great once you pass behind the historic buildings. So let's talk about Harrisburg. Harrisburg is the capital city of Pennsylvania. It's the third and the current one. The first one was in Philadelphia from when Pennsylvania became a state in 1790 through 1799. Second we have is Lancaster, 1799 through 1812. And the last one, the third one, is Harrisburg from 1812 to present day. So it's been the capital city for over 200 years. It's the 9th most populous city in Pennsylvania at 50,099 according to the 2020 census, while the Harrisburg-Carlisle Metropolitan Statistical Area has an estimated 615,000 residents and is the 4th most populous metropolitan area in Pennsylvania. I think the rankings after this include Allentown, followed by Pittsburgh, and then obviously Philadelphia. Philadelphia is huge, has like over maybe about 6 million people over there, I think, around the metro area. Harrisburg is situated on the east bank of the Susquehanna River, 83 miles southwest of Allentown and 107 miles northwest of Philadelphia. It is officially incorporated as a third-class city and is the county seat of Dauphin County. Harrisburg played a major role in the American history, including the westward migration, American Civil War. Yep, that's why the Civil War Museum is here. And the Industrial Revolution. During parts of the 19th century, the building of the Pennsylvania Canal and later Pennsylvania Railroad allowed Harrisburg to develop into one of the most industrialized cities in the Northeast United States. In the mid to late 20th century, the city's economic fortunes fluctuated with its major industries consisting of government, heavy manufacturing, agriculture, and food services. The economic fluctuations contributed to Harrisburg experiencing a decline in nearly half of its population between 1950 and 2000. However, the region is seen as financially stable in part due to the high concentration of state and federal government agencies. Okay, we recently departed Route 22. 28th Street is where you would go to the National Civil War Museum. We're going straight. We're not going turning there. We're going to default into State Street. So we're going to see the Capitol here. Keep going straight. I'm going to read more. The Pennsylvania Farm Show is the largest indoor agricultural exposition in the U.S. Was first held in Harrisburg in 1917 and has been held there annually in early to mid-January since. Wow, January has this? The city also hosts the annual Great American Outdoor Show, the largest of its kind in the world. Among many other events, Harrisburg experienced the 3 Mile Island accident in March 28, 1979 in nearby Middletown. Let's talk about its founding. Harrisburg's site along the Susquehanna River is thought to have been inhabited by Native Americans as early as 3000 BC. Known to the Native Americans as Pikeston or Paxtag, the area was an important resting place and crossroads for Native American traders, with trails leading to Delaware to the Ohio rivers, from the Potomac to the upper Susquehanna intersecting there. In the 17th century, the first European contact with Native Americans in Pennsylvania was made by Englishman Captain John Smith, who journeyed from Virginia up the Susquehanna River in 1608 and visited the Susquehanna tribe. Oh yeah, John Smith had a major impact with Jamestown, Virginia founding. In the 18th century, we have 1719, John Harris Sr., English trader, settled there, and 14 years later secured the grants of 800 acres in this vicinity. In 1785, John Harris Jr. made plans to lay out a town of his father's land, which he named Harrisburg. In the spring of 1785, the town was formally surveyed by William McClay, who was a son-in-law of John Harris Sr. In 1791, Harrisburg became incorporated, and in October 1812, it was named Pennsylvania State Capital. It has remained ever since, assembling here in the highly sectional Harrisburg Convention in 1827, signaling what may have been the birth of lobbying on a national scale, led to the passage of the High Protective Tariff Bill of 1828. All right, we're gonna get a good view of State Street, and we're on State Street. Look at the sign over there. State Street usually leads to one of the more government buildings or the Capitol. And we're going to get a good view of the Capitol once we pass this intersection. Civil War Museum Drive and Parkway Drive. Let's see if we get a good view. Oh, yes we do. I do see it. Look at that dome right there. That's the legislative office. We're going this route. This is not the fastest way to get into Harrisburg, but this is the grand entrance because we're going to be going to the State Street Bridge. Let's talk about the State Street Bridge. The State Street Bridge, also known as the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Bridge, is a 1,312-foot concrete deck arch bridge that spans PA Route 230 and the Paxton Creek in Harrisburg. The bridge was completed in 1930 and was intended to be the principal entrance to downtown Harrisburg. Here we go. That's what we're gonna do. And Pennsylvania Capitol Complex from the east. And I'm from the east. I'm from New York. The bridge was listed in the National Register of Historic Places in June 22nd, 1988, and was documented by the Historic American Engineering Record in 1997. It has a width of 80 feet, which includes 2 lanes going westbound and eastbound. The history. After the Pennsylvania State Capitol building burned to the ground in 1897. Don't worry, the burning was not an attack. It's more of an accidental fire that happened. Usually happens to a lot of government buildings. Plans were drawn up to improve and expand the park that surrounds the Capitol building. The plans were for a more impressive Capitol building that would prevent other Pennsylvania cities like Philadelphia from challenging Harrisburg's claim as the seat of the state government. After the land was necessary for expansion was acquired in 1916, Arnold Brunner was hired to design the plans for construction and landscaping of new buildings. Plans was interrupted by World War I. Oh, here's the entrance, 13th Street. After the war in 1919, it was decided to make a bridge memorial to the armed forces of the United States and Pennsylvania had fought in the war. Pennsylvania General Assembly passed an act authorizing the construction of the bridge on July 18, 1919. In 1926, William Garon and Sidney Ross revised the plans that Brunner had made for the bridge. In 1921, after his death in 1925, plans were made to include a more massive bridge, taller and more streamlined than pylons. Look at that, I like the lampposts and all this. Here's the pylons. They're 145 feet tall, 16 foot wide, to flank the west end of the bridge. Each of them have an eagle perched on it. Wow, 1861 and 1776. Left and right. Let's turn left right here. We're at the end of the bridge. We're gonna go get into the government buildings. And then we're gonna turn right now in here. Watch out for the merge. Let's turn here with this car, right here. 15 miles an hour. I think this is the legislative building over here on the left. And we're gonna see this park. Wow. They have the eagles on it, signifying the United States Army and the United States Navy. Each eagle weighs about 300 short tons, or 270 tons, and is 21 feet tall. The eagles were created by sculptor Lee Laurie, and four faces of the pylons have years of the 8 wars the United States have participated into World War I. Oh, wow, they're entering the lot right here. State employees only. We're turning right. Get the right signal on. Look at the fountain. Wow. This looks very nice. I think this is the back entrance of the Capitol. I'm gonna go get a video of video dedicated to the Capitol. But this looks incredible. All right, we're gonna be turning left. Next intersection. So right here. Turn left here. One-way street. Wow, so many places to take pictures here. All right, and to the right we have the Keystone Building, and this circular building is called the Pennsylvania State Museum. Yes, unfortunately, we do not have time to visit this, and because they charge an admission fee, I think it's only $7. We don't really have time to visit here, so I will plan to come back someday and visit here. If we turn left into North 3rd Street, that's where you get the front steps. But we're not going to do that. We're going to be finding parking in the area. This area does have permit parking, so hopefully we'll be able to find that. I do like this house over here, the stucco house or bricks. I think it's bricks. They painted white, and it's called Roxy's Cafe. Nice green. You don't really see that many buildings that look green like that and painted like that. All right, we're gonna be turning right. So we can do a right turn on red. But I do want to visit that Pennsylvania State Museum to see what Pennsylvania has to offer, because I love traveling here for vacation, outside of New York. It's very nice. Stay on the left lane, we're gonna be going straight. Forster Street is a bridge as well. That's to the left for crossing the Susquehanna River. So, yeah, we do have the Keystone, back to the bridge, the arch carving a weapon that's developed in World War I. Never built. The bridge included a museum. Under the western end of the bridge was used to include Pennsylvania flags that were used in battle, and a list of all the Pennsylvanians who fought in World War I. Yeah. Construction began on the bridge in 1925, and I think it cost about $361,000, which is $6.5 million in present terms. We're gonna go straight. We're gonna find parking here, and then yeah, the city of Harrisburg contributed about half of the cost. No, actually, this is almost 80% of the cost at $300,000 or $5.4 million. The bridge was renovated in 1955 by J. Richard Nisley. Was added a 36-foot steel girder span on the bridge eastern end. The road, deck, and sidewalks were replaced in 1957. State Street Bridge, yep, talk about the historic places. Good, very good. I'll talk more about the Capitol later when we'll get an outside view, but we got to focus more on our parking. But I do like the murals here. There's a butterfly mural right there. So it's very nice. Wow, we have the historic Harrisburg Resource Center as well as the Central Trust Company. Oh, and this is called the Harrisburg Broad Street Market. That's nice. Unfortunately, I think it's closed today on Wednesday. We'll see. I think they have good food from all the cultures. So, alright, I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hope you enjoy it. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed this video. And give this video a like. Let me know in the comments if you've been to Harrisburg or if you want to, if you visited this city before. Thanks you all for watching. Take care, everyone. Bye.